Yeah, we're wired to connect with people too, right? Like we're human beings are wired to like see other people. We want to be around the campfire, chatting, understanding, connecting, feeling like we know somebody. And like it's amazing that power when it starts to show up. Because as you're talking about when you first started to connect and see the social media stuff take off, it was making me think of when we first started using video ourselves. Like we're a video company at Wistia. We were really not using it at first. You know, it was like a few screencasts here or there. We were afraid to get on a camera, and we made some videos that were kind of all by accident. You know, it was like for literally to like show our friends and like family that like, hey, we're a real company type of a deal. You know, that's like, that was the actual intention. And then what happened is that people would, it was all qualitative feedback at first. It was like, oh, that was really great. Or I love that or whatever. Or I'd go to some event and someone knew who I was. Actually, I'll never forget the first time where it's like someone came up to me and they're like, can I give you a hug? I was like, what the hell is this? And it was just like, they felt like thankful because they'd learned a lot of stuff from the content. And like, that doesn't show up in the analytics at first, right? When it's like, oh, I got 200 views and now I got 250. You don't think of that as like 250 human beings consuming, having a relationship, caring. And when you start to think about it that way, at least for me, a lot of the numbers, they all start to change. Like it's not just 200. It's like, no, 200 people, 200 people's time, 200 people's emotions, 200 people's energy. And when you start thinking about it like that, it's like, you know, if you have 200 people who care about something, you can build a movement. But like when we just are obsessed with like the creators who are already successful, it becomes very hard to imagine how you can get to that place.
Definitely. And another thing that I actually hear come up quite often is people have the thought of, well, no one's seeing my content, so what's the point? And I think, well, I'm like, is no one really? Or did like 100 people see it, which is very much not no one. I often
it's a
think
big
sometimes
difference.
people are looking outwards. They're looking for more without seeing what's right in front of them. And I think when that shift happens, you actually build community with the small audience that you do have, which is what will always help you grow bigger. The best way to grow bigger, at least.
It's so simple, but it's so hard, right? Why is it so hard? Why is it so hard to do?
They're visual. I mean, literally the numbers are like visually on our profile, right? This many followers, this many views, this many shares. I mean, it's like, of course, the social media platforms are wanting us to see these metrics and chase them. But I think that just shifting what we're actually looking at as success on social media can make showing up feel a lot more impactful than I think a lot of people have actually experienced right now.
Yeah, it's funny. I had an interaction with someone last week who reached out to me. I knew him 10 years ago. I hadn't talked to him in 10 years. He reached out. He's like, hey, I just want to let you know, like, I recommended this like online fitness thing I use called Future, which is, have you heard of this?
No.
I can send you a referral code. But it's this like online coach who builds workouts for you. And it shows up on your phone and it tracks through Apple Watch. And I've been doing it for like almost 4 years at this point. It's been great. So I mentioned it on a show with Sylvie. And somehow, like, we put the clip on LinkedIn or something. This guy saw it. I had no idea he still knew who I was or was paying attention. And he reached out to me last week. He's like, I need to let you know I signed up for Future like 3 months ago. And I love it. It's so great. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And he's like, can we catch up? I'm like, sure. And we catch up. And he knew all these things and was paying attention to all this stuff. And it reminded me that, like, even sometimes you put something up there, 250 people see it. There's like 5 to 10 reactions on it. And you're like, was that worth it? And then here's someone who, like, I hadn't seen his face. I hadn't seen a like. I hadn't seen anything in like 10 years. And he is in the audience paying attention, caring. Like, it was like such an incredible moment. It's like, I don't like everything I look at. I get in a mood where I'm like, I'll like some stuff and then I won't, you know what I mean? And it's like, there's like, we're talking about the people behind the numbers, but I really feel like it's worth getting into because it is this thing that stops people from continuing, right? Like, they do 5 posts, nothing takes off. And it's like, that's almost it's like the optimist would look at that and be like, you just communicate with 1,000 people. Like, when else in your life have you done that, in the last week? It's just kind of so interesting to me because it's like, we know it, but to your point, you're looking at the numbers. It's hard to believe those are human beings like behind the number.
I was just thinking of what you're saying, Chris, and I can relate to that so much. I was launching my program and I sent an email and I was like, if you have any questions, reply, let me know. And this person replied, very thoughtful bullet points, lots of questions. So I answered all the questions, program details, goals, all the things. And the last question was, what is your favorite brand of matcha? And I thought that was such a fascinating question, which people are wondering, do you sell matcha? I don't sell matcha. Yeah. It is very much a part of my brand. Right. Yeah, maybe I should. But it's a part of my brand.
Pierre's matcha. It's incredible. Yeah.
Honestly, we just put it on the table. We're putting it on the table.
Yeah, we'll
you guys said it first. But I share my matcha almost every day. It's like a part of my brand. It's a part of how I connect with my community. It's not random. It's very intentional. I know a lot of my audience is entrepreneurs who love caffeine, who are having a morning beverage. So I choose to share that about myself. And it showed that this person, who then became a client, was one of my favorite clients that I've worked with, had all these questions about the sales process, but also had the thought of, let me ask about something that's personal to her. Mm-hmm. And so I think that shows that they can work together, and that sometimes I think people are focusing on a shorter term result when realizing that every piece of content is like building a house's foundation. It's building these little touch points. It's building these little inside jokes. And instead of thinking of, well, this whole piece of content I created, this one reel I created has to get me sales, instead of thinking, I'm going to post another reel and then I'm going to post another one, and it's going to do different jobs in a way that it needs to for different types of people. So I think when you realize that it's very holistic, and that every piece of content, whether it's connection or if it's really valuable in education, it's really adding all these touch points that whether someone buys in 1 month of knowing your brand or literally years, it's all building up to that point. And so sometimes you just need to have a little bit of patience, and instead of thinking of it as patience, thinking of it as just like enjoying the journey instead of trying to be at the end of the destination.
Yes.
Yes.
Wow. No, you got Chris snapping.
No, I mean,
you got Chris snaps.
You are speaking my language right now. And I just like, why is it so hard for people? Everyone's just so focused on a short term that it's so hard to do these things that are so obvious. But it's like, as you're talking, I'm just thinking about my exact experience of like, we've been working hard over the last year. I started posting on LinkedIn. And like, basically I'd never invested on LinkedIn. It's like slowly but surely. It's like, one post takes off. I'm like, oh my God, it's this huge number of views. I'm like so excited. And I got like 50 followers. And I'm like, deflated. And then it goes over and over and over. And then eventually it's like planting all these seeds. And just exactly as you're saying, all these reels being out there, all these posts and all these things that are connecting with people in different ways, it starts adding up. Yeah, the follower count starts growing. It's still very small. But the connections and the opportunities and all the things that are coming out of it is like building and building and building and building. So when every week there's some interesting thing that's coming through LinkedIn at this point. And I look at it as like, it's about the journey. I say the exact same thing about the journey. And it's about getting like the inputs right? It's like, I need to figure out how to train my brain to think, oh, I should share this. Like this might actually be interesting or helpful to somebody. And then you start doing that. And then by the time the numbers are there, they don't matter as much in this interesting way. Like I've seen this with just Wistia writ large, right? Been doing this a long time. There's people who are just killed to get a partnership with. Just like at the beginning, I was like, I need this. Like if I get this, then this company's going to grow so fast. And then you don't get it. And it's over time, you just stay at it and grow. And then the same company comes up, you want to do a partnership, like, so sounds like a good idea. Like, we'll try it. But it's not make or break anymore. It's not like, it's not
you
this
played
like
it so cool.
Thing.
Sounds good.
No, it's not even playing cool. It's just like,
try it.
It's just,
I wasn't dreaming
it's
about
just like this idea of how the journey goes, like, and enjoying it is the whole key, right? It's like the secret to this stuff of like being able to constantly get better, being able to constantly put more stuff out there. But it's very much the opposite of a lot of like growth advice.
Definitely.
It's like, growth hack your way as fast as possible. to success. It is not like compound over a very long period of time, very thoughtfully, in a way that you actually care about how you're doing it. And then by the time it's really going, you're like, each individual thing doesn't matter that much, which is very counterintuitive. So I just find it so interesting because like, I don't know, this is not stuff that people usually are. This is the nitty gritty you can't read in a post, right? Like this is the thing you can only hear the emotions and all that stuff like in a podcast versus like, you can't put this in 250 characters and have someone like really get it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think to your point, I was thinking, I mean, as a social media manager, when I first started out, of course, I felt like I had to get my clients those numbers and those results that people had. And I felt insecure if I didn't have those numbers, let alone if my clients didn't.
Yeah.
And I think the shift that really was helpful for me was really detaching myself from my content and like putting the pressure on every piece of content. I think I could be proud of it. I could be excited about what I shared, but not obsessing over everything that we create and do, which I feel like also ties back to what we were talking about before about the perfectionism, right? If I'm like, oh, well, this is just one video I'm posting and I know I'm going to post more, then who cares if my lighting was like, who cares about that type of thing? Because I know I'm continuing to show up. And so I think it's something that doesn't happen overnight. Like we've all gotten to this point in the conversation because we've had to challenge what actually we think, oh, we need to have viral views, we need to get more followers. We've challenged those thoughts and we start to kind of be like, actually, I don't think that's what we want. And we can kind of change our perspective there, but it doesn't happen overnight because I'm guarantee you right now, you can go on your Reels tab or anywhere. And if you're looking for advice on Reels, it's going to be how to go viral, how to get this many followers, how to get this many views, how to blah, 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 which everyone's sick of, right? So I think we can start to rebuild what we want that type of success to, what that metric to be on social media for all of us.
Now I'm snapping.